Miss Williams, that's the bond of the court.
So I have no bond?
All right, let's walk it back.
Oh my God, Jesus.
Because you exercise that right. You understand that?
Yes.
And you understand you have a right to be proven innocent or to be presumed innocent until you're proven guilty by a preponderance of the evidence. It's a probation violation hearing, so that's 51%. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
You also have a right to call witnesses to speak for you at trial or at the hearing, and I would sign a subpoena to get them here if that was needed. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. The allegation, Ms. Miller, is that you tested positive for alcohol and had a PBT at 0.07 on August 9th at 9 a.m. And you tested positive for alcohol and had a PBT of 0.06 on August 9th at 9:04 a.m. and that you admitted to drinking on August 8th. How do you plead?
Guilty.
And you understand you'd be waiving the right to the hearing if I accept that plea. There will be no hearing of any kind.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'm going to accept the plea as knowing and voluntarily given.
Your Honor, what I'm going to say to the court is not an excuse for her conduct, but just want the court to know it's something that apparently is beyond her control. On the day of the incident, or the day prior to being tested, her daughter was rushed into the hospital for surgery. That was just another straw on the camel's back. She reports in the last 2 months she's been trying to evict her boyfriend or ex-boyfriend from her house, because of his negative conduct. She's facing a foreclosure. Everything's just been overwhelming on her. She doesn't want to be, or she's asking the court that the court would reconsider about removing her from the sobriety court. She realizes she does need help. She was in rehab last fall and seemed to be doing very well until the end of May, when all these problems started multiplying and she had the trouble of coping with it. Yeah, her 93 days in jail. I'm asking the court to reconsider that. Maybe some sort of rehab program would help her out better. That's all we can say, Your Honor. It's not like a deliberate violation where, some people come into this court and they don't have any reason. They just decided they want to drink. Yeah. She's got situations she can't cope with, and she needs some sort of guidance and help, and begging the court for it, Your Honor.
Here's the problem with Miss Miller, and this is very difficult. This is a tough hearing for everybody in the room right now, or at least her and I and Miss Hagner. Miss Miller has this case back from 2021. She was originally on standard probation, and she kept drinking on standard probation. She'd never been in trouble before, so that was indicative to everybody involved in the case that she probably needed an elevated level of treatment. So she was brought into treatment court. When she was brought into treatment court, she continued. We had her in an IOP, which was a level of care that the therapist thought was appropriate, and she started escalating. She was not just using alcohol, she started using crack. So then we did everything we could right away, and everything I am saying is true, and you know it. We did everything we could right away to get her better treatment. She got a bed in Naomi's Nest, and went to Naomi's Nest for inpatient residential treatment. She was in for how long, Ms. Hagner?
45 days.
Yeah, it was a long, it wasn't like she was in for 7 days for detox. She stayed in 45 days. She came out, she was going to hit the ground running. When did she get out, Ms. Hagner?
It was sometime in January that she went immediately into IOP.
Yeah, and then we got her immediately into IOP. So she's now done 45 days inpatient, second bout of IOP. She's learning all of these coping skills. That's what they go there for, right? You're learning all of these different ways that you can react to stressful situations or triggering situations besides use. We got her into peer recovery. She was in IOP. She continued to use.
Then a month
She
after,
finished IOP the second time.
Correct.
And then went to standard, right? She was just seeing her therapist every week, going to group every week, right, Kelsey?
Correct.
Correct me when I'm wrong. And then she started using crack again.
cocaine, yes.
Well,
Yep.
okay. And then she had a violation for that in May. She didn't show up for testing in June. She missed IOP in July. She had 2 positive cocaine tests in May after completing a second round of IOP.
Yes, this was within a month of completing, and at that time we put her back into IOP
So
again.
she's now in her
currently in IOP.
3rd round of IOP. So she's currently in treatment 3 days a week, plus she sees her own therapist, right?
Once a week, correct?
Once a week. Do you go to that group once a week too?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. You see Sarah still?
Yes.
So she's got a peer recovery coach. You go to her meeting
Yes.
and you go to AA a couple times a week. So, I mean, other than jail, there's nothing else I can do for Miss Miller. Miss Miller doesn't, we just heard this lady speak at Families Against Narcotics, at an event, this opioid awareness month. Beaumont put something on. What was her name? Tiffany Jenkins. And she's in recovery, and she talked about being in recovery, and she said she did 2 inpatient stints. The first one she did it because the government told her she had to avoid jail. And she went through the motions, she did what she had to do, and she got out. The second time she did it, she had completely hit rock bottom, and she knew she needed to change. And that's when she quit using. And Miss Miller, I don't know where rock bottom is, but she's not in this program. It's clear to me she's not using any of the resources we've thrown at her because she just continues to have use violations. She has all of these tools, all of these people she could call. She knows she could come sit in the court if she wanted to. She could call Kelsey. She could call her peer recovery coach. She could call her therapist. She could call one of the 15 girls in our peer group, in the women's group that I know she has relationships with. And she could have done all of these things. She could have went to a meeting. She could have used all of these tools, and instead she decided to use, and then she came to court drunk, knowing full well she's still drunk from the night before.
Yeah.
Like,
That could be another cry for help. I know that a lecture that you heard, the lady went 2 times to IOP. This may be her rock bottom, and it'd be a shame to give up hope and to throw her in jail, just throwing her to the wolves. Also, Your Honor, if I could just mention, if the court is going to incarcerate her, if she can have a startup date. She's got 2 minor children at home, and the child's father is finally doing something. He never supported him, but he's filing for custody. So she does have to make arrangements for those 2 minor children.
yeah, the problem is with keeping her in any capacity is we don't have time. Like, she's got to have, we have phases in the program. She's in phase 2.
Correct.
So she just had a violation. So now it'd be 90 days without a violation before she could go to phase 3. And then she's supposed to do how long in phase 3, Ms. Havner?
Minimum of 3 months.
A minimum of 3 months. And so that altogether is 6 months that we need. And how long do we have her?
Until January 5th, so about 5 months.
We don't have time for her to graduate. We don't have time for her to finish the program.
And if they're successful during that time, they'll be well worth it, though.
And that 90 days is also guaranteed that there is no further violations or use violations. So it's not even a guarantee to advance within 90 days.
I know I'm not actively involved in sobriety court, but my understanding is incarceration for long terms really does not help in addiction.
It doesn't, but neither does keep helping and helping and helping someone who doesn't want help. Like, at some point, it's like I'm just screaming off a mountaintop. She's not listening. She's not taking advantage of any of the resources. I just don't see the point in it. And it's heartbreaking, and it's so sad. And Miss Miller's been with us for a long time, and it's like we start to see her make progress, and then she reverts right back. And she's reverted right back to the point where I don't know if I can keep her. And I don't think she's expecting this. I think she thought she could use, and it was gonna be like all the other times. But now time's running out. And if she's not learned anything yet, I don't know that she's going to.
Yes, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at, Judge. I mean, you know, they say incarceration is not gonna help, but clearly recovery is not helping her either. She did reach out to her peer recovery coach that day, but she didn't even talk to her about wanting to use or about to use. So, I mean, if she's not gonna take the step further to tell people, hey, I'm at my rock bottom, this is what's going on, I don't see how much else we can help her if she's not utilizing her tools to the best of her ability.
Yeah, Honor, today's not an eye-opener for Ms. Miller. Nothing would be. And the court still has time to keep her in the program.
She used
I'm sorry, it was 2.5 days I was there.
Okay, so 2.5 days later, and she got right out and used, so that didn't work. And then she's been in for 4 or 5 days now.
That sort of supports the argument that the jail doesn't help in addiction.
Yeah, what, right, but neither does therapy in Miss Miller's case or any of the other tools we're giving her, because she keeps using anyway.
She had a couple months there where she was sober and no violations.
I mean, when we're 18 months along and she's still not using her resources, I mean, that's very alarming.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, these should be proximate goals. Like these should be things that she's able to do. I don't know, Miss Miller, I can't see any.
I did put the minor children's father on the consent form, so I can call him following this hearing and arrange contact.
You'll love that.
For the children, so the children will be fine.
This
The other two are adult children.
I'm sorry. It's an individual who barely supported the children, and now he's trying to seize on this opportunity. But
It is what it is.
It is what you made it.
Yes.
It is, it's
Yes.
what you made
Yes, Your
it,
Honor.
Miss Miller. This isn't, it is what it is.
No.
This is your reality because you created
Yes,
this
ma'am.
reality.
I apologize for saying that.
I mean, this is, you know, is it good for the kids, for the ma to be, you know, doing crack and coke and
No.
drinking when she's looking at all this jail time? These are rhetorical questions. I mean, we all know the answer. All right, I'm gonna call this other matter. Miss Miller can just sit for a minute. We'll call this other matter real quick. That's according to the guidance center. Like they can't think of anything else other than 3 stints in IOP and a residential that would help Miss Miller, you know, learn some coping mechanisms or deal with whatever trauma she has, you know, and this is still her first response, even with everything that we've provided. I'm gonna give her some credit for the time she's been in the program. I'm sorry, Kelsey, I lost your paper. Ms. Miller, you can still do this on your own when you're ready. If you continue down this path, I'm confident I'll see you again. What?
I don't want to be like that anymore.
All right. I'm gonna give her 80 days. Credit,
Startup date?
11, no, start now. I'm sorry, Miss Miller. This one was, you knew better.
State your name.
Lakeisha Williams.
Morning, Miss Williams. You were here for your first appearance after being arrested for the charge of robbery without a firearm or a weapon. It is my understanding that you were previously advised of your rights to remain silent, as well as to have an attorney present or have an attorney appointed to your case. If you qualified, I'm reviewing your application. And I do find upon my review of the application that you would qualify to have a court-appointed attorney. So at this time, I will appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you in this matter. And I do find upon my review of the affidavit complaint that there was probable cause for your arrest. Is there any prior history on Miss Williams?
She is currently out on bond, Your Honor, under case 242551 CF, petty theft case.
And your honor, this is my niece I'm talking about. I told her she couldn't go to the fair, and I was up there, job not, I'm getting arrested for robbery on my niece. Cause I told her she couldn't go to the fair.
Miss Williams, please don't talk about your case. Even though you may feel you have a defense, it's best to talk with your attorney in private so we can discuss it, okay?
Sorry.
That's all right.
And what was that case number again?
It was 242551 CF.
Just a moment. History.
18 of petty theft, 11 shoplifting, 10 grand theft vehicle, theft $300 or more, and 10 goes all the way back to 2000s, mainly just thefts.
All right, Miss Williams, in this case, I'm going to set your bond amount at $15,000 in order that you have no contact with the victim in this case in any manner. The victim being Jaden Hughes. No contact means through directly, indirectly, through a third party, social media, absolutely no contact with that victim. Your next court date for that will be November 4th at 9 a.m. And I'm also signing an order for revocation of your release for case number 24 CF 2551 due to receiving this new law violation and set your new bond amount at hold without bond.
So I don't have a bond. My mom's finna pull the plug on my mom in the morning, please. My mom's in Bank Medical Center. I got proof right now, and they're gonna pull the plug, and I just want to see her one time.
Miss Williams, that's the bond of the court.
So I have no bond?
Step out.
Oh my God, Jesus.
You can get the baby out of here.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Good morning, Miss.
Your bond was $5,000. It is doubled to $10,000. You must have a drug patch as a condition of bond. And did you have a lawyer?
I was gonna give him mine.
Yeah. You need to fill out one of those indigent forms, and then I can appoint somebody to represent you because you were not represented. Huh?
Have a great moment to speak with.
Go ahead.
It's a bit trying to make them excuse, but right now, I'm going through a full custody matter with my son.
I'm sorry about that. You shouldn't be showing up while on bond or at any time using drugs and handling problems like that. Any kind of problems. Irresponsibly using illegal drugs is a poor way to do it. But we have rules and we're going to follow the rules.
Yes,
and I'm not letting you amble out of here into the roadway when you're high on drugs. And then you either, if you're driving, you hit somebody, or you walk in front of somebody and they hit you. But the fact of the matter is, when you're on my bond,
yes, sir.
I'm going to be accountable if you do something bad on my watch irresponsibly.
Yes.
You have to follow the rules. And that's what I'm doing, is treating you like everybody else. When you flunk a drug test, your bond is revoked, it gets doubled, and you have to have a drug patch as a condition of bond. If you have family issues, this is the way I do it. My family comes first, not my drugs.
Yes.
So I don't have sympathy with anyone like that. All you're doing is getting high is more important than your family, but you like to use your family when you're in a crack like now. Oh, now all of a sudden your family's important. It wasn't hard for me to look into the eyes of my children or my wife when I was about to make a decision that would be the right decision or the wrong decision, because I could see how much I could lose with what I care about. You, on the other hand, and many like you who come here, unfortunately, care more about drug usage.
Yeah. Yes.
But that costs you. Your family shouldn't be second and third. They should be number one.
Yes.
You should be way down the list.
Yes.
Taking care of your drug needs shouldn't be number one. And when that happens, you sacrifice and you lose wonderful things. And the family suffers because they rely on you as the role model, as the leader of the family, which you're not doing properly. That's my lecture. That is all. Go on. Okay, this Tiara Norman was reset. George.